also now, you see, and this is what happens. Start with character assassination. Now it assassinates your friends, and then your family, and everything else that is connected to you.
And then what is interesting is that when they talk about the failure of the marriage, how they paint another partner, how they will tell how this person is so irresponsible. And then when now you say, but I need to see both of you, and the tongue will turn and will change and say, hey, that guy is a sweet talker.
Because there are so many people who never think that they sin. So instead, they then go on to the defensive.
Okay.
And the moment you live in a defensive, anything that comes your way becomes an offensive. So then they go through life with the intention. I want you to listen to this carefully. They go through life with the intention of making anybody who get engaged with them an offender.
Many marriages, if we do not exaggerate, that there are gaslighters in the marriages, that they will turn so much of a thing and make you as if you are out of your mind.
It's people who don't want to take responsibility. Wanting to make it your responsibility that if I am not feeling good at 8 to make love to you, you must remember that it's your fault at some point.
Sure.
So they're not taking responsibility of anything.
Greetings, everybody. It's myself here, Lemon Lemza Phiri, and I am with my beloved brother. We are here together today to make some discussion, and he is Dr. Elijah. How are you,
My
sir?
good brother, I'm good, and how are you?
Yes, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, some I see now, I see the colors.
Yes, I see also yours, man. I like that.
We need some butterflies.
Yeah.
Butterflies love nice flowers.
Yes. Yeah, it's summertime, and then it's warmer this side of South Africa, and we are looking forward into the good time.
I see even your conversations are becoming warmer.
Yes, are you saying that? Are they becoming warmer?
Hey, they're becoming warmer, bro. People are telling us on the comments, hey, guys, Nina. So yeah, it's clear that they are penetrating them.
Yes. I checked the one that someone looking on what we did in the previous session. Man. It's hot. It's hot, man. And then we are here today. It's an insightful exchange, of course. We are bringing so much insight. And then it's an exchange. We get to the thoughts of the viewers, but we are here. We exchange the thoughts. And then we communicate on the particular subject. And today, it's another day. I don't know our viewers, how far they can relate with this. But we know that this is one of the elements that which has caused a lot of strife in relationships, in marriages. And to the point that other marriages, they even fail. Yes, because there are people in the relationship, you would find it could be one or both that cannot take responsibility.
Yeah.
And we're talking today on the blame game.
Yeah.
Yes, blame game. Where there is always a finger pointed on the other person. And I want us to really deliberate on this, because we know that, as I've indicated, that marriages, they do fail. Relationships, they do fail because of the blame game. What is your take on this?
You caught me off guard. and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, blame game, and it reminds me of when we were young, and you find that we broke a glass or a plate or something happened in that regard, and a parent walks in and say, who did this? And everybody says, Hasin. Now imagine it's 4 of us in there, and all of us says Hasin. But plate it to a heat.
Yes. Just on that story, I was telling my daughters the other time, because now at least now they have grown. So as they were growing up, So there will be something that which you see that this is child's work.
Yes.
And you call them, girls, who did that?
Yeah.
It's not me,
Yes.
Papa, it's not me.
Yes.
Kiru, you are the only children.
The only two of you
It's
here.
only two of
Yeah.
you. And then one of you is responsible, if not both of you.
Yeah. And again, and why am I reminded of this example?
Yeah.
It makes you realize that some of us, we grow into marriage with that kind of mentality.
Sure.
A mentality of not taking responsibility and blaming somebody else
Yeah.
for what we did. Because if I say it's not me, that means somebody else did it.
Yes.
And deep down, I know that it's me. So that's where then we learn to gaslight
Sure.
at an early age, and we don't even realize it. To say, I'm going to refuse it, but I'm going to make the other person think and believe that it is them who did it.
Yes.
Because
that's
if it's,
gaslighting.
Yeah, because if it's the two of us, and I say it's not me, and you know deep down that it's not you. So the next thing would be for me now to create, a narrative that makes you believe that it's actually you.
Sure.
And this is this blame game that we are talking about. But when we were young, then depending on how parent would raise these children,
Yeah.
another parent would take a shambok or a belt and whip both of us.
Yeah.
Because if I say it's not me, this one says it's not her, then somebody must take responsibility.
Yes.
So they would whip both of us and leave us there crying.
Yeah.
And hoping that they have dealt with the issue. Next time we will learn. But next time, the plate is not now broken by me, it's broken by the other one. Now he realizes that if I say it's me, I'm going to be the only one who's going to get a shambok. So if I say it's not me, then it's going to be both of us getting shambok. So they learn, from there to say, I'm going to defend myself.
Sure.
And the problem with that is that then the brain started to record these habits and patterns. Now, you will see that, and we spoke about this at some point, that many people go through life with defense mechanisms.
Yes.
Because your brain, naturally, the way it's created to save and protect you. So that's why it's easier for people to go mostly on the protective end, because it keeps them safe.
Yes.
So when they grow up, it feels secure to not take the blame. So if I do not take responsibility, I don't have to deal with the matter. So it's always gonna be my partner, and it's very rife, my good sir. You look at a simple thing. You walk into the house.
Yeah.
And I use, in one of my books, I use an example of the enemy. The devil has infiltrated this house.
Yeah.
He walks into this house, he starts to steal the stuff in the house. The couple walks in, and the woman says to the husband, do you see the devil sitting in our lounge, having pegged our laptops, our TVs, and everything else? The husband looks at the enemy, which is the devil in the house, turns back to the wife and say, it's your responsibility to lock the doors. You did not lock the doors. It's your fault that this man is sitting in our house.
Sure.
Instead of him looking at the enemy sitting in the house, he quickly blames the woman.
Yeah.
Now, why am I telling you the story? I'm trying to show you the extent of blame game. That even when there's a need to hold hands and fight the enemy, I instead turn to my spouse and blame them. You know, so it becomes now an almost second nature for those kind of people to always not take responsibility and blame it on somebody else. It happens in every small things, you know. You know, those kind of little things, they show you that here, I'm living with somebody who's always going to be blaming me. But when I get a chance, I do the same. Because why? Remember when we were young, I did not want to be the only one who gets punished. So now if we exchange the blames, we are both punished. So many people don't realize that this is exactly what they're doing to their partners. And as a result, they find themselves living in a circle of toxicity.
Sure. I like us to elaborate a little further on the gaslighting.
Yes.
Because many marriages, if we do not exaggerate, that there are gaslighters in the marriages, that they will turn so much of a thing and make you as if you are out of your mind. Because that's what, in the essence, gaslighting would bring into the person. Where when I am wrong, but I will really turn this vehicle, I will turn this ship to the point where you see that I am actually the right person.
Yes.
You are the
Yes.
one that
Yes.
is wrong.
Yes.
So it basically turn the victim into the perpetrator. That I am the one that is a victim here, but will make me to feel that actually you are the one that has caused everything that which is in a mess, that which is a mess currently in a relationship. Can we look into that to say how dangerous is gaslighting?
And I want to take you back again to the example I gave you about these little children.
Yeah.
And when you look at how people become gaslighters, and I said it started when we were young,
Yes.
and it carries on through our life, that some of the things that we do and we hide them. So it's only us who knows these particular things. And what's even worse is that the Bible says, come and confess. So people don't even confess even that which they did in secret, even when they've got a platform to go and confess them to the Lord. Now, the moment that happens, it starts to create now a sense of pride. So when you start to have a sense of pride and you start to hold yourself in high regard, so you become self-righteous.
Sure.
You start to have a high sense of self. And you start to put yourself on this golden pedestal. And you look at yourself as someone who is incapable of erring or of sinning. You know, and that's why the Bible speaks a lot about, if we say we are not sinners, we make Jesus to be a liar. And there's a reason why the scripture is quoted or mentioned, that because there are so many people who never think that they sin. So instead, they then go on to the defensive.
Okay.
And the moment you live in a defensive, anything that comes your way becomes an offensive. So then they go through life with the intention. I want you to listen to this carefully. They go through life with the intention of making anybody who get engaged with them an offender. And they go to an extent of their children. How do they do it? I could not finish varsity because of you. I felt pregnant. I am not having a great life because of you. You know, I cannot afford things that I want because of you, the child.
And you don't see yourself as an interplayer there.
No, there's no, you are a victim, remember. You're on the defensive. You're operating on the defensive. So anything that happens to you is not your fault. It's you are being, treated very bad. Life is treating you very bad. Now, and I'm saying this to you, I want you to start to understand the mind of that person. So what does that person do? They distort reality. When those children broke that plate, they distorted that reality to say, we don't know how this plate got here in the first place. We don't know. We're not even seeing a broken plate in actual fact yet. So there's no way it can be us. So that's basically what your partner does to you. And then when we grow up, we then come across this term called gaslighting. But this person has been training themselves to become a gaslighter.
Sure.
With the intention that if the marriage fails, it's not me.
Yes.
And you must also understand that the things that they do are justified. If she denies you sex, for example, it's not her fault. You did not bath. You are just, you did not marinate her from 7 o'clock in the morning. And then come 8 o'clock, you want to take her to bed.
Sure.
And I listen to most of these people speak sometimes, especially women saying, if you want to make love to me at 8 o'clock, you must start at 7 o'clock in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, you start marinating, you tell me sweet nothings, you buy. It's people who don't want to take responsibility. Wanting to make it your responsibility that if I am not feeling good at 8 to make love to you, you must remember that it's your fault at some point. You know,
Sure.
so they're not taking responsibility of anything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's like, let's bring it to the guys. I went and I cheated because you deny me sex at home. Again, this is a gaslighter. This is somebody who does not want to take responsibility, because the fact that you are denying me sex at home does not necessarily mean now I have franchised my private part to everybody to
everybody.
say, you know, it's free for all. Those who wants to have me can come and have me because ending by deny. No, I still need to be responsible for my you know, ndenges.
Yes.
You know, it's still mine, and I still need to control it, you know, in a
Yeah.
responsible manner. And I cannot go and pick up diseases out and say, yeah, we are sick now because of you.
Because of
No,
you.
it's me. But you start to understand that these two people are not willing to take responsibility.
Yeah,
There were those children who never wanted to be corrected. And how do we know that? We know it because when there was an opportunity to be corrected, they denied that it was them. So they were never corrected, they were punished. Now
Yeah.
they live life through understanding the conversation or a language of punishment. So they then want to punish the one that is in their life.
Yeah.
Now, that's why they would deny them things so that they can act, and they say, no, it's not me, it's you. So now they also master the skill of this gaslighting. I'm going to deny it, and I'm going to create a narrative for you to believe and to feel bad that indeed it is you. So they always look for faults in you. I'm not enjoying sex with you because you don't do foreplay. I'm not enjoying sex with you because you don't brush your teeth. I'm not enjoying sex with you because you don't buy me things I want. I'm not enjoying sex with you because we've got too many dates. I'm too stressed. You know, so there's always a reason why they wouldn't want to enjoy making love to you. And the same applies with the man. I'm not enjoying sex with you because you're not giving me the blowjob. I'm not enjoying sex with you because I'm not, you know, there's always something
Some
wrong
reasons, yeah.
that they should find to blame you. Now, the moment they start to do that to you, you start to question your being. You start to question your presence in their life. You start to question your value in their life.
Yeah.
You start to doubt yourself. And that was their intention, for you to start doubting yourself. So you start to doubt yourself in terms of, could I be a person who will satisfy this person's needs? And you start to think and believe that indeed you are failing. But she is orchestrated that intentionally to make you feel like you are a loser, so that you don't come and ask for that which they don't want to give you. And then they now go to their friends and family and say, Lemon does not sleep with me. We haven't been intimate in the last 3 months.
Sure.
Then when you talk to him, what happens? No, he just doesn't want to talk to me about it. Remember, now you're upset.
Yes.
Now
yes.
you have given them a silent treatment.
Yeah.
Now they are now talking to people about your silent treatment.
Sure.
My husband is not talking to me. We are not discussing how we got to your silent treatment. And when we eventually go to the parents or to the counselor, when they get there, they cry. Now, the person who's looking at this woman crying so hysterically, they're thinking, no, man. No, man. Lemon is treating this woman very bad.
Yeah.
This woman cannot cry like this. So everything is orchestrated because, and according to me, you know, gaslighters are, they've got some kind of a mental disorder. You know, because they want you to end up believing that you are the one who's crazy. They tell you that you said things that you never said. And they give you evidence. No, remember when we were sitting, you said you'll do that. No, but I never said that. And they end up saying, you see, you don't want to take responsibility of anything. But meanwhile, you are being played, you don't even realize it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Man, look, I have come across people.
Yes.
We talk with people, of course, that they will come for session, especially if it's couple.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm running on that kind of a level of mental disorder.
Yes.
That which is present in a sense that to some other people, because of the background, one of the background is what you have brought up, to say because of how they found an escape while they were young, that when they break something, therefore they will want to implicate another one.
Yes.
To the point where they totally move away from the responsibility, that they will find and the reasons that which are reasonable, that which are convincing, that this is the person that actually has broken this glass. So we find such people in relationships and in marriage, that they are extreme of not taking responsibility. You find whenever there is a challenge of also in the marriage, where one partner, when probably will have an access to you, maybe because other people would not want to come as a couple, and then after we had to say, no, come both of you. And then what is interesting is that when they talk about the failure of the marriage, how they paint another partner, how they will tell how this person is so irresponsible. And then when now you say, but I need to see both of you, and the tongue will turn and will change and say, hey, that guy is a sweet talker.
I doubt that they even come here.
Yeah. And if that person will come and if that person
and he lies.
That person lies. That will believe that person when he speaks. And then those are the people who don't want to take responsibility. That now they would want to cover up themselves. That they want to prepare you that to become negative towards that person if ultimately that person comes, so that you do not get the truth. And this is what we find. Look, we have had people when the relationship, especially when ultimately they fail, that no one wants to take the responsibility. Very few take responsibility in terms of that, you know what, I was a player as well in the failure of this relationship. Though other people will pay, for instance, you know the old story that people like to use, you cheated.
Yes.
Yeah, so no, you cheated and all of that. Remember, we don't say, you've elaborated well earlier on, we do not promote that people therefore now will have to go and cheat because there are problems in the marriage. And then one will say, this is cheated. But we say, how were you the contributor towards that?
Do you know, but you're asking a very pertinent question here. But if I were to shock you, usually people go file for divorces. And you find that infidelity has been cited most of the time as the cause. And in some instances, you hear of communication or miscommunication, whatever. But infidelity is the least of the concerns. Usually, when we find infidelity, we already know that we have another problem.
Yes. There is a source.
There is a source. There are people, obviously, that cannot control themselves, their sexual urges and so forth. And we know that.
Yeah.
But the moment a person starts to say, it's not my fault, it's his infidelity. In most cases, when we dig deep, we start to find a situation whereby this particular man has been made, vulnerable, has been made useless, has been emasculated to a point that he could no longer become the husband to this person. That he just becomes a man in her life. That to a point that he realizes that there's no place here for me anymore.
Sure.
That this woman makes it so difficult for me to want her, to love her, and to express my love to her.
Yeah.
And she uses things and calls them jokes. But I was joking. When this guy comes and he bought flowers, and this lady says, people buy flowers and put money on the flowers. You just bring in the flowers. And when this guy raises this with this woman says, but can't you take jokes? But you can't joke about somebody's intention and a way of expressing love to you. Instead of you saying, oh, thank you so much for doing this for me.
Yes.
I appreciate it and I love the flowers.
Yeah.
Because this man goes through, certain situations, circumstances to make sure that they please you. This man wants to be intimate with you. They try to be playful with you and maybe let's say they want to do some foreplay. Hayi nkwe menyana. You know, hayi nkwe menyana. Then eventually this guy says, you know what, Ricky menyana ke tswe mo dilong, ngwabo?
Yeah.
And he gets ignored. And tomorrow when he raises that, you know, I was trying to be playful with you and I felt rejected by you. No, can't you take jokes? I was just playing Musluena. Why didn't you try more? You know? But you know, and it's a joke for them. And they are not taking responsibility. They're blaming him for ngala. You know, you sulk quickly. You know, why don't you become too persevering and pushing me? You know? But every time he pushes, what do? You push him back. So this guy eventually decides, you know what? I don't want to be experiencing this rejection. So what do? I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest mistake that people make is that we are we are animals of feelings, of emotions, and we want to be touched, we want to be loved, whether we like it or not, regardless of whether we are a man or a woman.
Yeah.
It's our nature. For as long as we live in this body, we will need that until we die.
Yes.
And we need to get it from somewhere. That's why infidelity is rife among men and women. You know, women do it very well. They don't really always get caught. Men sometimes can become reckless. Now you find that when this man is caught, is flogged, is being labeled all sorts of things. But the things that this woman was doing to this man, we're not talking about them. And this is where the marriages now start to have problems. That if that woman understood that her actions, every now and again, when he pushes this man away, he pushes this man to the street.
Sure.
Because this man is going to want to be loved. And every time he tries to raise the issue with you, you downplay his concern and you make him feel like he's complaining. You make him feel like he's a problem and so forth. So eventually he does not complain anymore. Yeah. And eventually you are inviting somebody else in your lives. But what you're waiting for is to show people how bad he is. You catch him out and you say, I told you. That was your intention from the beginning. Because the people who don't take responsibility are always looking for somebody to blame. Sure. And they create actually a perpetrator out of their partner. Sure. This is not just my partner became. No. They created this monster. Sure. So that they can show people that, you see, I told you. You see how innocent I am? I'm the innocent one. He's the problem. And that's why they are quick to go to social media. To say, you see, guys, I told you I'm such a sweetie person. It's not me, it's him. So many men don't know that they are being set up every day by their partners for failure.
Sure. Man, you know what works in me now is the level of this being a mental disorder. Yeah. In a sense of a partner who is fully convinced that is right whenever he does or she does the blame game. Yeah. Whenever will deviate. Remember, other people, they are able to deviate. Yeah. That you and then that is kind of rife as well. It's widespread, if we may. You've made an example earlier on of an error or of a mistake that which a husband might be doing, and when he confronts the wife of what she does, this wife will deviate from what is, or this individual, the real issue, and then will bring all other...
start to poke holes.
Yes, and start to poke and say, I'm not like you. You are like that. You did this. Yes. You are like this. You are this. And this has really made conversations and problems to be solved very difficult in many marriages. Yeah. Because you cannot raise an issue. No. Once you raise an issue,
you are an issue.
Even an innocent matter, a simple one, you've made it. You see, that's how it jumps.
Yes, I can feel my
yes, and then now it's no longer a braid and a matter now. Now it goes into your family.
But it also now, you see, and this is what happens. Start with character assassination. Now it assassinates your friends and then your family and everything else that is connected to you. And hence I'm saying to you that The day we recognize the destructive effects of blame game is the day we start to work and build our marriages.
Yes.
Because when you hear people saying we have a problem of communication, usually it's an issue of blame game. The door is open.
You need to repeat that because what you are saying is true.
Yeah.
We really found that.
Yes.
Every time, whenever people call we have an issue of communication.
Yes.
It's blame game.
It's blame game.
That is the issue.
Yeah. And let me just give you a simple example so that for our viewers to understand what I'm referring to here. The door is open. Instead of a person saying, honey, will you kindly close the door for us? They come and say, like I didn't know how come on. Why is this? Now this poor person is sitting there thinking, oh, what did I do now? Still saying like you know? Can't you ask me, honey, close the door?
Yes. There's an easy way of communicating there.
You understand what I'm saying?
But then you brought violence and so, yeah.
When I want to live how would you now you are sitting there now already you as a husband wants to go to a defensive because now you are realizing, but I'm being attacked here.
Yeah.
Now you want to address the tone, but don't speak to me like that. Oh, you have a problem now. I can't talk to my husband.
Or your girlfriend speaks
Your
better.
girlfriend speaks better.
Yeah, go to them.
And that little thing now escalate. Now, why do we say that's a blame game? Instead of you asking him to close the door, you bring in things that makes this man to feel that I am the reason the snakes is going to come into the house. I'm the reason this door is open.
Sure.
Because this is basically what you are saying. This is the message that he's getting there. You know, a simple thing. You guys know that, you're waiting for salaries month end. And you also know that your husband took a loan to go to school. So he's repaying that loan. You walk past a Nike shop. Your children says, hey, mommy, there's a Air Force One. Hey, I need that thingy, mommy. And you say, hey, loan to school. This kind of things, they sound innocent. They sound like there's nothing wrong with them, Or, hey, when I go, after the loan. You make this person feel guilty for going to school, for taking that loan. Now, he ends up being unable to even discuss with you about their future endeavors because they will never hear the end of it.
Yeah. And
now,
after that, you say there's no communication here.
Yeah.
You don't check how you shut
that communication down. Are you understanding what I'm saying? All right. Saturday morning, mama ukupezi ke umudropa ku maraba starter unyogoreka yini. Okay, every Saturday when your mother is always calling you. Now, bear in mind, the last time your mother asked you, it was when you went to a funeral
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now your mother does not know yet every Saturday wow funeral. Right there, now you're sitting there having to defend your mother, having to defend, no, it was only 2 years ago. Then even the moment you mentioned 2 years ago, they remind you of another Tuesday where your mother said, whatever. And I'm just using this as examples, men of God, that couples they need to start looking at how they quickly throw the blame without them realizing that, but the way I am communicating this particular message, it is already, a contempt, is a criticism. It throws the blame at my partner without now taking responsibility from my side in terms of how I approach this particular matter. Ba kenyaka on tshelle petrolo, just like kutlwile chomi ya ka re monna ha mo tshella petrolo every Monday or every Sunday. ai rena ke re nyetse romba to ba ba tshella di petrol rena tla e bona go kae. You thinking that's right. It's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you even don't even take time to understand your partner. There are many other things that this man does, but petrol is not his strength.
Yes.
And maybe for obvious reasons to say, look, because Josie me fro ya Pretoria, but in the house, but not the homework or tusa, the house is clean, the yard is clean, everything is paid. When the electricity is not there, he makes sure that everything is done. So he's got so many strengths. But because when you admire your friends' lives or life, you also want him to do that which the other guy is doing. But you don't know what the other guy is not doing. Why we already? So already you start to communicate with complaints. You are not communicating with strategy to build and to elicit a positive feedback from him. And now and again he responds you in the same way you communicated, or this is how he speaks to me. Now, you are forgetting, or here you're talking to a savage being here that is created to defend himself physically. So when he sees a threat, he's going to respond to a threat. Now, when you, as a wife, become a threat to this man, he becomes, obviously, that which is undesirable. It happens to husbands as well.
Yeah.
There are wives who can't talk to their husbands.
Yeah.
You know, you walk home and you want to discuss finances. Hani ne ke re kono bolela ka tabela ya chelete. King, you don't think I can manage money? You know, already now this poor woman is left having to defend her position. She said, no, that's not what I meant. All I mean is that can we discuss finances? Because I would also want to know, how it works and whatever the case is. And this guy goes into a defense. You know, and I'm not talking here about where the wife started the problem. There are men who were those children that never took responsibility about the broken plate, you know, that every time his wife wants to talk to him, he must fast for 7 days. Or he must pray and have a prayer point called talking to my husband.
And gather all the strength.
Gather all the strength. I mean, there's no point for that. It's not necessary. But also this whole idea of I'm the head. Some men don't understand the concept of what the head is. They instead become headaches.
They become headaches, man.
So again, his way of communicating, puts this woman in a defensive all the time. That he's not taking responsibility for how he addresses things with his wife. So if we were to help couples, we would say to them, go home. Look at where you live, number one.
Yeah.
The moment you realize that you are living in a defensive, your communication is faulty, we know.
Yes.
Because if you're living in a defensive, you are waiting to defend yourself. Anything that is said to you could be used against you. Or you can use it against the other person. So that's number one. Number two, see how you send messages to them. Are you sending messages to them to make them feel bad about themselves and in the name of Maranagyatshamika? But when I play serious. In marriage, you don't take things for granted.
Yes.
In marriage, you don't take things for granted.
Yeah, there are jokes that are not jokes.
There are jokes that are not jokes at all. O ka sere ke le busy ke phopotha matswele wena wa nyoko joke. No, ke na go tshuma mollo ba nong wena nyoko ke todi. A re bereke bjao. A re focus mo spanning and then reface.
Yes.
So you need to start understanding that sometimes jokes can be silly, that they are not welcomed. And instead of you blaming your partner for being insensitive, immediately apologize.
Yeah.
It was not my intention. And don't say, I'm sorry that you are feeling that way.
Yes.
That's not an apology. You still say, I'm right, but I'm apologizing for how you are feeling.
Yes, and that's a blame game.
That's a blame game again.
Yes.
Yeah.
To say, yes, what you've said is a blame game.
Yeah, it's a blame game.
Yeah, you don't take responsibility.
No.
Yeah.
It's your feelings.
Yes, it's your feelings.
Yeah, you can't
deal
control
with
your
it.
feelings. Yeah, deal with it.
Yeah.
So again, man of God, we go to an extent of trying to educate couples out there to say, the problem is not in the cheating. The problem is not in the lack of money. The problem starts where we ourselves are living in a space whereby my intention is to make them feel bad without recognizing that intention. You see where the problem is.
Yeah.
And every time when they say to you, look at the mirror, you always say the mirror is faulty.
Hey.
You have changed mirrors in your house so many times.
Yeah.
Because you expect a mirror to show you something else.
Yes.
You are not willing and prepared to look at yourself honestly and say, this is me, this is what I do, I need to change it.
Yeah.
And there's this misconception of being Christ-like. And being Christ-like for them means I am incapable of sinning. You know, I'm a daughter of the Most High. And you start to see right there that they don't even understand where the Most High resides. Because this falls there. You know, there are times where Michael is delayed to deliver a message. You know, Gabriel needs to be sent. Or Gabriel is delayed to deliver a message, Michael has to be sent.
Yes.
And you know, these are the realities of what happens in the spiritual realms, to say it doesn't mean everything is perfect even there. So if things are not perfect there, how come you living in a flesh can be so perfect?
Yeah.
So accept that there could be things that are undesirable about me. There could be things that I am not doing right. There could be things that upset my partner. There could be things that are so faulty about how I do things. And in order for me to know those things is to go to a point of correction.
Yes.
Now let's go back. Remember that child that did not want to be corrected?
Yeah.
And their mother said, I'm not willing, he's going to throw a tantrum. Because he does not want to be corrected. There are people in marriages who don't want to be corrected.
Sure. Man, I remember a story. We are closing, of course. I remember one story of this a woman who'd always would look through her window when her neighbor is doing laundry.
Yeah.
And then when the neighbor put the laundry on the line. Bless you.
Thank you. This thing is getting hot,
Yeah. And then when the neighbor, all the time when the neighbor puts the laundry on the line, on the lane. Yeah, line, yes.
Washing line, yeah.
Washing line. So lane, it's that one. Yeah, so every time, and then she's looking in the window and say, but how can that person put these dirty clothes on the line? And all the time she's putting dirty laundry on the line. Can't she wash them and then put them clean? And one time she had a visitor. And then when she had a visitor, and she says the same. But this visitor was outside. But she said, okay, let's go outside and look. When they get from outside and look at the laundry of the neighbor, the laundry is clean. And this visitor say, look at your window. Yeah. It's not the laundry of this person.
It's your window.
It's your window that needs to be cleaned.
Yeah. And you hear the story that the eye is the window
Yes.
to the soul.
Yes.
The eye is the window to the soul. So when this window is dirty,
Yes.
we know.
Yes. Inside
Is dirty. Now, you need to clean so that you start to see clearly.
Yes.
The scales fell off the eyes of Paul, of Saul at that time.
Yes.
Now, when you enter marriage, man of God, you have to be intentional about removing the scales. Because you have been given scales that you came with from your family of origin. Scales that were causing you and forcing you to see in a particular way.
Yes.
When your mother did not want to argue with you, he let you get your way. And you thought that was the way of life. When you get into a marriage and your partner wants to correct you, you don't want to take that because nobody corrected you.
Sure.
So who is he or she to correct you?
Then you develop that self-righteous.
You develop
ultimately
self-righteous, yeah.
that you are right. There is nothing wrong in you.
And this now becomes a way of life. That her decision or his decisions are bad, but mine are right.
Yeah.
So there's only one right person in the marriage, and that's the one who's righteous. And that's why I always teach the couples to say, give up your right to be right. Because being right makes you rigid. Being right attracts negativity. Being right creates toxicity, you know, because there are many ways of looking at something. There are many perspectives to one thing. But if you are not willing to develop and employ other perspectives, you're always going to look at life from one way, and that's only your perspective.
Sure.
And when we talk about gaslighting being a mental health, it's not necessarily mentioned in the DSM-5. You know, that is the statistical diagnosis of mental health. It's not mentioned there. But when you go into other, mentioned mental health issues there, the OCDs, and you start to see narcissism as well.
Yes.
You start to see that these people are bordering at some of those. And there's no way that one can become right all the time. It's impossible.
Yeah.
And why don't you question yourself? You spouse at home saying, I'm right. Why don't you question yourself and say, what if I am wrong?
Yeah.
What if I did not see this thing properly? But you see, a self-righteous person does not even ask that question because they can't be wrong.
Can't be wrong.
Yeah, so they are even afraid to ask that question.
Sure.
And they are going to end up by saying it's you.
It feels like they are disempowered if they ask
how they operate to succeed is to also disempower you. So that they can always say, no, I can't be wrong.
Yeah.
I can't be wrong.
I've never been wrong.
I've never been wrong. You know? And this whole idea that their parents keep telling me that, you, my son, you, my daughter, you are the best. You are going to be a king. You are pretty. You are handsome. There's nothing wrong with you.
When you are touching something else now.
So they grow into marriages believing that even my grandmother told me.
They grow big heads.
They grow big heads. I was told that I'm the best thing that you have received. There is nothing better than me.
Sure. Hey, Dogotel. Yeah. That was awesome, man. That was powerful. I want us maybe to wrap it in this way. To say there is this person, because we need more to address these people who are self-righteous. Who would not want to see the other side of themselves. To say, how do we help these individuals who are always targeting this person? We know some they do that as a result of saying, I want to punish, I can't, because we are still in that story. You remember the story you brought of these two children who brought, to say, I want this person, I can't suffer alone. I want to see that this person suffers. I will bring limitations into this person. I will bring self-hate to this person, self-doubt to this person, that this person's reasonable capability will doubt it and will never reason with me ever again. But now, how do we help these persons? Because it's a serious issue. But I don't want us to forget the person who is a victim here, that is always being poked, is always being limited, always being put to shame, if you may, to say, how can this person, these two, or both of them, we need to give them help to say, when we are done here, how do they move forward?
I want to ask you questions.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you these questions from the biblical point of view. And I want you to think about them. And I'll pose a few scenarios there. What do you think would have happened when Jesus came to the guy at the pool of Bethesda? And he asked him, do you want to get well? And that guy said, no. What would Jesus have done? What do you think Jesus would have done?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, because now I'm going from the background that you find that Jesus Christ, he always works on the willingness of people.
Yeah, that's why I say, what do you think
Yeah.
he would have done? If that guy had said no.
No, I don't want to be well.
Yeah.
Probably Jesus would engage him.
Okay.
Because we found
Yeah,
him.
but this guy, he's right. He says no.
Yeah.
He's adamant.
Yes.
You're not going to help me. No.
Yeah. Then Jesus would leave him.
Jesus would leave him.
Yeah.
That's one part.
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened to the lady or the woman with the issue of blood? If he had stayed home and believed that the doctor said you can't get help, what would have happened to her?
She would remain the same.
She would have remained the same and bled to death.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm asking you these questions, and I can take it to the centurion. If the centurion didn't go out and say, hey, I've got a servant at home who's lying there,
Yeah.
what would have happened again? So Jesus wouldn't have touched those people.
Yes.
Now, Jesus says, I come, I knock.
Yes.
He says it. He says,
Yeah.
if you open,
Yes.
I enter.
Yes, I enter.
But if you don't,
I pass.
I pass. There was no need, or there would not have been a need for God to send Jesus to die for our sins if we did not commit sins.
Yes. Certainly.
There's a reason why he came, to show that we are men who are fallible. We are men who sin. And when I say men here, I'm talking about human beings, meaning
Yes.
men and women.
And women. Yeah.
So the people that you're asking about, that what do we do to help them? Let's pose it back to them to say, go undress, remain naked and stand on the mirror and say, I need to look at me and accept that I am not infallible.
Yes.
I am a man who sins. I am a man who's imperfect. And I can be wrong at times,
Yes.
even when I think I'm right. But because of that, I'm going to make it my responsibility to go and sit with someone who is not my wife, who's not my husband, who is impartial,
Okay.
who can see things from a different point of view. And I'm going to go to this person and say, I'm willing to listen. And I'm also willing to tell the truth. This is what I do to my partner.
Yeah.
When my partner asks me something, I turn it back at them. When my partner complains about something, I tell them they are complaining. This is what I do.
Yeah.
And this is when I get to that person, I'm going to tell them this, and I'm going to say, now I've told you what I do. Tell me where I need to fix. But for as long as this person say, there is no one to throw me into the river when the water is stirred, then I will not even hear when I'm told, pick up your mat and go. So they need to pick up their mat and go and be honest as to why they're sitting there. And for as long as couples are not willing to go and expose their weaknesses and deal with those weaknesses, the fights in marriages are not going to stop.
Sure. Sure.
So here we are not talking about go talk to your partner, because you are going to go with the same mentality that causes the problems in the first place. We are saying the two of you need to say, you know what, I've been with you for years. I might have hurt you in the process without me realizing. So let's go sit with someone who can also give us tools to use for us to see and reflect, to see if we are wrong or are on the right track.
Yes.
That's just where it starts.
Uh-huh.
Because if you are sitting there and you're listening to this podcast and you are saying, there's nothing wrong with me, there's everything wrong with you.
Yes. Thank you very much, man, for really breaking that for us. And we trust that our viewers at home, you have received something to really work on. And because we really want to see that marriages work, we say do away with self-righteousness. Your marriage requires you to be really nude, to be naked, and to be able to take responsibility. Things that which you need to really respond on those things and do not be a thorn in the flesh of your partner. See to it that your relationship work. And if you really sometimes, of course, you would want to punish your partner because of some mistakes that which might have happened, but it's time to forgive and not to keep on dragging those matters every time you get an opportunity. And sometimes it's not just an opportunity, it's a forced opportunity. You really push yourself through, but you need to solve those things out, because we know gaslighting is very painful to the other partner, because it makes the other partner as if he's really out of mind whenever he brings matters into the light. So sort out things. Find a person that is neutral, that both of you can talk to, that can assist you and help you in all matters of your life. May it all go well with your marriage. We are done and out here.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Nisizwile. Noma ningafuni ukuzwa nisizwile.